Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Boss Talk. It's your host with the most, Mr. Million, with my distinguished co-hosts Moses and Javon. Today we have a special guest, Arman, that flew all the way from Lenagan, Armenia to be here, 17 hours. Legit got the call, was right here. So what's up, my brother? Tell us what you about, what you do.
What's up, everybody?
Introduce yourself.
Pleasure to meet you. My name's Arman. I'm in entertainment and logistics. Handle essentially management and booking for A-list celebrities and the artist and athlete as well as modeling scene. Logistics handle, door-to-door type for like Costco, Walmart, actual 53-foot trucks. Found a cool little base of balance in life. So just been pushing through at that.
That's right. Pleasure to have you, man.
Thanks for coming here, man. For real.
Where can the people find you on IG?
It's the Arman Gazarian.
There you go. And that's the plug. So as we know, we usually start the show off with a boss talk. Up till now, my brother Javon has been dropping all the boss talks, but today I'm going to drop a boss talk. And the boss talk key of the day is consistency. What is consistency? Consistency is always doing the same thing over and over again, never stopping. What comes with consistency is achievements. When you always stay consistent on something, you will always outshine the talented, lazy person. But if you can be as talented as you want, essentially is what I'm trying to say. You can be crazy talented, be the best singer, rapper, writer, but if you don't put in that work, you're never going to get to what you want to get to. But that one person who really doesn't have it like that, but has that work ethic, will 100%, 10 out of 10 times beat you at your own game. So
I think also another angle to look at the consistency is like, you got to be consistent in the effort, in the sense of if you get knocked down, you got to get back up. And you cannot do that sometimes. You cannot say like, my limit is 5 times to get knocked down and then that's it, I'm out. The best athletes, the best, musicians, whatever category of somebody who's known by everybody, I guarantee you they all have a long backlog of fail until it finally started to work out for them. Even me, myself, life has gotten real dark for me at certain points, thinking like, is this it? Because we're only the age that we are. So you always feel like what's going on right now is the end of the line. Yeah. We're not considering the fact that you got like another 67 years on your plate.
Right.
So like you're sitting there just like, what have I done? Like, God, like help me please, right? Mm-hmm. So what I can say about myself is that I've consistently got back up. Yeah. I've been knocked down. I think people have witnessed me be down. And at the time, I felt some type of way, but now I feel even a different type of way and a funny type of way, because I'm like, you guys got to keep watching me get up. Mm-hmm. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, I feel that, bro. Yeah, being knocked down, and then it's like you'll be at your lowest point, and then when you come up, you elevate. You jump to a whole nother level, exactly. And then we got to understand too, like everyone's journey is different.
Right.
It's like you're gonna see somebody that's already on top or getting there, and it's like, man, I wish I was there already. Why ain't I there? But your journey's totally different. Once you get to that level, you're gonna be on a whole nother aspect.
Yeah,
you feel me? It's like
I feel like once you truly understand the importance of consistency, you realize it never really stops. So one thing we've all had, I would say climaxes and drops in our lives, right? Just like a heartbeat. If you ever flatline, you're dead.
Right.
Right. So if you're going through your ups and your downs, one thing you have to understand is even when you're at your up, you have to remember that consistency is backed with discipline.
Yep.
Because a lot of people, the issue is that I see today's generation is they have the consistency, but they don't have the discipline to keep it going. Because we have a lot of people and a lot of young talented people today, like, really pushing through and making new benchmarks. The issue is that they're not disciplined to keep it up and continue going, right? So it's not only about staying consistent in your craft, but it's about staying consistent enough to understand that you have to be disciplined to continue on for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Piggyback on what you said, we got 60, 70 years to go.
Right.
It's not just today. It's not just this week. It's not just this month.
And I feel like a lot of this new generation, they just don't have enough work ethic too, though. They want everything like
Facts.
now. Like they want it too fast. So they're not putting in that work. They're not being patient enough where it's like, yo, if I'm gonna do this one day and you be consistent enough to do it, you know, it's like building a habit. They say it takes 30 days to build a habit?
Yep.
Something like that.
31 days.
Yeah, you do it for 30 days and then pretty soon it's gonna be like clockwork for you.
Yeah.
But this new generation, they just want it now without putting in the work.
I would say that it's like, you know that one quote where it's like, this world will give you the tools you need to either succeed or to destroy yourself, right? So when you look at it from that format, us growing up, right, me and Max, for example, in our generation, the tools we have that, for example, you may not have had coming up, like TikTok, all the social media, right?
Right.
Your attention span is different.
Exactly.
The way you think is different. The shit you see is different. Like I grew up coming from an immigrant family. I saw my mom working 3 jobs.
Right.
I was like, fuck, like you got me fucked up, you know? Like I'm not about to sit here and like chill while my mom's busting her ass to work 3 jobs. But now you get kids that like are pampered, you feel me, spoon fed, and they don't really understand what it takes to like break your fucking back.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like you really gotta fucking like, you gotta get after it, bro.
Right.
You know what though? I will say this, like even shifting some of that blame, I feel like what it comes down to is that nobody teaches hardship. We only teach reward. We only teach smile. We don't teach our children or our younger constituents, whatever you want to call them, how to be in a tough situation. You know, we make it seem like, hey, you can make all of these right decisions and then your life will be perfect. But we don't tell them that you can make all these right decisions and your life could still mess up.
Right.
Things can go wrong out of your hand. Like there'll be somebody who went to medical school, they spent all their time getting straight A's, and then they step out of a gas station and get blown to pieces by some random person that they never met before.
Right.
You know, how do you handle certain situations like that? So for me, I was blessed enough to be raised and while being taught hardship. That's what I was taught growing up.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they hoped that the world would be hard for me, but what they did was they prepared me for anything difficult, which is the reason why I think about it all the time. I think we all got similar stories in the sense of we think back to somebody we know since elementary school or high school, and then you see them some years later and they're strung out on drugs. Or you see them at a random spot, you know, and you're just like thinking like, damn, like for me, when I process that, I think that probably something happened to them that's similar to something that happened to me, except they couldn't handle it.
Right.
They didn't know how to just like eat it, like stand back up and keep going. And then that's when I'm grateful for God for putting the warrior spirit that he put inside of me.
Yeah.
You can't knock me down and I stay down. I will always get up, you know?
Yeah.
So I just think that, you know, talking about how you talked about like TikTok and these new devices that are in store, that not only has an impact on the youth, it has an impact on the parents because now you got people parenting all incorrectly. Instead of them like putting effort into their kids, they're over here trying to like, how can me and my kid go viral? How can I showcase that I'm the best mom or the best dad?
Or not, it could even go like beyond that. And it's like, oh, I'm a parent. When's my free time going to come? Here's your tablet.
Yeah.
You
guilty.
know?
I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that.
But still, it's like parents do that. Like, bro, when we were kids, what were we doing? We were outside getting into trouble. This and that. I remember my parents telling me, they're like, you can go ahead and get into as much trouble as you want. But you come home and if the cops come to our door, we're going to say, you're not my kid. It's like, all right, so you're telling me not to get caught.
Right.
But real facts. So we were out there riding our bikes, you know, doing a bunch of stuff, like all these outdoor stuff. I feel like kids need to get back to that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why there's like so much depression with all these youngins and all this mental health crisis, because all you do is see social media and you see the next person who's doing way better than you.
Facts.
Exactly. That's another reason why, like you said, bringing it back to now. Kids want everything now. It's because of social media. Because they see someone, they may have some sort of attribute. They think they look cute or whatever. And they see another good looking girl who's never done shit in life, let's say, other than just post and maybe get lucky. Or maybe she was consistent and she was a good-looking girl and she got to that point and they don't see, but they don't know the work that was put behind this girl or what. But all they're saying is all this girl does is post food and herself and she has 3 million followers.
Right.
And she's making money off every stupid little sponsor. And now I want that shit.
Yeah.
And that the kids are trying to get to that too. So I feel like there's a connect in that too.
You one thing I want to say about this is that, again, you were talking about the tools that are either going to build you or destroy you. And something that is interesting to look at and think about is that we can't look at the way we grew up and say that like what they got now is going to damage them if we just don't show it to them in the correct way. So again, like these devices, like, because there's a positive side to this too. There's never been such an easier opportunity for somebody to become a multimillionaire off of media and content.
It's a different type of tool.
It's a different thing. And what I notice is this right here. We have all these cameras and everything. I make music and I'm sitting here and I'm like, if you're a fisherman, you're going to teach your kids how to fish. Why is it that if I know how to use these cameras and I know how to do this production stuff, why am I not teaching it to my kids? Giving them the tools of the world that they're growing up in, because it's not going to go backwards.
No.
They're only going to be somebody who can be in an area of editing, filming, sound engineering, reviewing or whatever. I could either show them how to do this the right way or I could just let them waste their time. And you know what the problem I got with my kids in general is this. They spend too much time watching other people do it. I'm like, yo, you're watching somebody else play a game?
Right.
Why don't you play a game then and record yourself? Because I could get behind that. You get it. If millions of people are watching this dude play a video game, then I need to come home and you need to be playing the video game.
Start your
with
stream.
the camera on.
Yeah, exactly.
I never understood that shit.
No,
How people
yeah,
could sit
facts.
down and watch a stream of like fucking Fortnite or I don't know, GTA
It's
or
kids,
whatever.
bro.
Brain rot, bro.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like even like for the kids, at least play that shit. At least at a point the kids are fucking playing it, and now they're just like, fuck that shit. Why would I turn on the console if I can just sit and watch someone play it?
I saw this meme that was talking about that, and it said like, oh yeah, I walked in on my kid watching them play a game on a stream, and I told him like, how come you don't do it? They were like, oh well, you don't watch football? He said, yeah. How come you don't play football?
Oh damn!
I was like, damn, that's a good
Shiesty
one.
ass kid.
But that's a solid
That's a good
point, though.
perspective.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I can't. That's why I can't get so deep into certain sports, bro. I got stuff to do. Like,
Right.
Okay, but one is clicking on a console and moving your fingers, and the other one is getting concussions for a living.
that's true.
So it's like the dad can flip it back again too. Like, hey,
This is all tied together to a nice thing I want to talk about. Have you guys seen the whole thing of for film, how people are trying to get Instagram talent to be casted into movies now? Like they prefer to get someone that has a bigger following on social media than to get an actual actor. And Ethan Hawke was actually just talking about it. What do you guys
That's
think
so
about
stupid,
that?
bro.
I think it's stupid as hell because you're going more for the purpose of who has the most following rather than who's the most talented.
exactly.
It's going to destroy the art.
Okay. I see why it's going this way. And that's because I feel like we live in such a generation where everything is so damn fake that you don't really know what is going to bring you engagement anymore. Right? So I feel like a lot of, I would say big media, big corporations, what they're doing is shifting. And they're trying to kind of understand this new generation and understand like how can they connect with the younger people, right? So if you realize that literally kind of what we were talking about earlier, everyone is connecting with people or products or services where they feel more connected with the person or the company or the journey, right? So if you have, let's say, Instagram influencer that has 10 million followers, right? Them being on that movie could hit box office and do crazy numbers rather than an actor that may be having the greatest acting skills, right? It won't blow up because it's not clout-based anymore. Our entire generation has moved off clout. If there's a figure behind it, if there's an image, if there's a name, it'll blow up. It doesn't matter how big it is. It doesn't matter if it's good. It doesn't matter if it's like the best. As long as you got the actual image behind it, you have the money to get this face behind this movement, it's green.
Yeah. I mean, I get the whole marketing behind it. You know, obviously it's marketing and it's about money and all of that. But as a purist when it comes to, peace out. Okay. Have a good one, bro.
See you, dog.
As like a purist when it comes to like filming everything, it's just, bro, it's going to ruin the whole art of all of it.
You
man.
know what,
It's
though?
like, there are going to be people that are talented.
Yeah.
There will be for sure. But you don't know damn well there's gonna be these movies where it's like, man, really, like all of it, and people are gonna go watch it just for that one person.
Exactly.
But the movie's gonna be ass.
Business on a business when it comes to like a CEO executive that's making these decisions, when you think on them, it makes sense for them, right?
Yeah.
They're not really even caring for the craft at this point. Like the people who open up these movie companies, the OG ones, they're all passed down to the grandkid, and they got a board and they're just like, what's gonna bring us more money and shit. So instead of bringing young people who understand the younger generation that also have, let's say, a background of communications and productions to get in that position to be like, no, this is how we gotta do it. Not just bringing all this Instagram stuff. They're just thinking, what can we do? Like Arman said, let's pop up the revenue. Let's make more money. Let's get more money in. And it's by bringing in those random faces, those random influencers and whatever it be. Me personally, the craft has to stay the craft. So you need actors. You need people who are trained to do what they're going to do, not just a name.
They could do it in a different way. They could keep it a craft and then use these social media people to market the movie.
I mean,
that would be ideal.
That would
That's
be
the ideal
smart.
way to
That's
do it.
very smart.
Have them market the movie, have them go. And I've seen it happen. I've
Everyone
seen like
needs-
a couple of them in movies and they're on the red carpet. And I'm thinking like the only reason they're here is because of their social media following, but they put them in the movie. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, and I've seen the movie. I'm like, they're horrible. Just have them market the movie for you because everybody's going to see it and have them like go to the movie theater, watch the movie and actually give a live review on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's way better.
I took a theater class, and this is like traditional theater too, like not even like movie theater. Even though like we'll talk about the differences between the silver screen and the stage, and some things do not transfer. You know, there's for example, if you are, I took my wife to a play, Reefer Madness, and they break the fourth wall all the time, which means that the performers will stop and they'll start interacting with the audience members, or they'll look directly at you and start talking to you, you know. It's never just, I mean, it could be, but it's not really just the stage is there, everything. So the performers will come off that stage, be dancing through the aisles, end up behind you, all types of stuff. It's immersive. Because of that, they do all of that because they can't do what they can do on the silver screen. Meaning, like on the silver screen, what they could do is cut, retake. Okay, this person, we want them to focus on them. We're gonna zoom the camera like in on their face. You can't do none of that live. So you have to do all this extra stuff. The point that I'm making is that there's a difference between, I feel like, holding your phone and creating something versus something that's meant to be on a massive screen.
Mm-hmm.
I can appreciate like certain types of humor when I'm on my IG account or whatever, that I will not appreciate if I paid money and went to a theater and I saw that same type of humor.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. You know, where's the professionals who got together and put this together?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From the business standpoint, as you guys are pointing out, 1,000% I get it. I personally feel like people shouldn't even be involved in things they don't love. And that's one major problem is like the people who are the record execs or who are at the top of the music industry don't even love music. I think I heard something like somebody didn't even know who Prince was. Like that was his, like the head of his record label or whatever, didn't even know who Prince was.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
You know, and it's like, but you're in charge of all of this. It'd be the same thing they say, you don't trust a bartender who doesn't drink. You know, what are you over here serving drinks for? Right? You don't even, right?
It was funny. My brother, he's a bartender, right? He was just telling me about that. He was all like, oh yeah, we had fired this guy because he's a bartender, but he doesn't drink. And he kept telling the customers like, oh yeah, I don't drink this and that. And they're like, why the fuck do I want to be here for, you know?
It's
but
like,
it's
buzzkill.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
right? He's all telling them they should go home, stop drinking.
Yeah, it's like, it's not good for you.
You should really not be drinking here.
Hey, so real quick, just because I've been waiting, we kind of took some time off and everything like that.
You want me to say it for you?
You already know where I'm going. Go
Kendrick's
ahead.
halftime. bro.
That's go. Well, first of all, before we even get into the juicy part, how do we feel
hours.
about that damn Super Bowl?
The hours of talking that has been going on, bro.
Between me
the
and
amount
How do you
of
feel
Black
about this?
history
Wait.
I have learned.
Wait, before we get to the halftime, did you guys watch the game And how do you feel about the Super Bowl in its
Yes.
entirety?
I was only watching
bro.
bits and
Yeah.
pieces.
It
I
was a
working,
spank
so.
straight up, bro.
Spanking. It was brutal,
Yeah,
man.
well, I did see that. Like within the first quarter, it was already like
Mahomes
oh,
looked lost
Yeah.
out there, dog.
I
Bro,
didn't.
there was people crying. Like the other, there was a shot they got. I'm like, wow, that's a horrible shot. It's like all big ass motherfuckers just crying and shit. Like we fucking lost, dog. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's sad, bro.
Hey, because they got mopped out there, bro. Like that was like, how did you guys even get to the Super Bowl getting mopped like this? Like that didn't. I can understand losing, but they were out there getting waxed.
They're
you know
probably
what I mean?
content, bro, because they're
I mean-
about to hit that 3-peat. And they're like, but they've
Nah,
Nah, that
underestimated
wouldn't
crying.
make drive you even harder, bro.
Yeah,
What are you
right.
talking about?
saying.
To be able to hold that, you said, bro, I seen players out there crying too.
Mhm.
So
I don't know why they got them though. That was a very bad look for those like.
But
NFL in general.
did you ever play sports in high school or anything
Of
like that?
course, bro.
Yeah, when
Boxing,
you get
MMA,
to a
water
certain
polo.
level like that, like Super Bowl, like even for high school, right? You get to a championship or something. You work so hard to get there, bro, and you lose. That it's a shitty feeling.
Yeah,
bro.
of course.
I've cried because of losing in the sport, and I'm a like I love winning, bro. I hate losing. My whole life, I've always hated losing.
Yeah, it's passion.
yeah, I'm definitely not knocking none of those NFL players who shed tears or whatever.
Me neither.
Who were
Because,
playing the game?
Yeah.
yeah,
So you're just talking about the fans, then?
no, I mean it's still funny, but
Oh,
like
okay.
at the same time, it's like sometimes we can laugh at things. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's like,
Shit.
hey, I might have been. Well, I know I wouldn't be there like that, but I know I would have been frustrated too.
Mhm.
You know, now I'm not saying this in the sense of like, oh, look, these niggas is soft. I'm not saying none of that. You know, they're still some of the best athletes on the face of the earth. You know,
Right.
100%.
but yeah, it was a crazy beatdown. And you know, me personally, I don't never blame like the players for losses like that. I'm always looking at the coaching staff. Like, what type of strategy did you guys not come up with, or did you come up with that was just terrible? Right?
Yeah.
You got these are the best college athletes all in one place on your team, so there's no reason for you to be getting spanked like this.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a second string quarterback come in the Super Bowl game.
And did he come in after the halftime?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. After the halftime, I cut the
You
TV off. Bro.
Turn the
Bro,
TV
you
off.
know?
Turn the TV off.
Bro, he was out there slinging it. I was like, oh my God.
That was his moment to shine. Like.
I was like, oh shit.
Damn. All right. How do we feel about that halftime performance?
It's dope.
It was,
Hater.
That's
Hater.
It. That's it. That's all you're gonna say.
I mean, I'm gonna say this. Look, I'm a fan of both sides. Tight. I appreciate the music. He could have genuinely played some of his actual hits and some of his own music rather than kind of making it about someone else. But the meaning behind that actual dance and the symbols and like the hidden, I would say, the hidden message behind it, I fuck with that for sure. It was dope as hell. There was a lot of eye-opening moments that kind of show you where we are in America right now
Yeah.
with, Black America versus white America, because it's not talked about enough. You know what I mean? And I feel like Kendrick was definitely trying to make a statement through that.
Right.
And I'm not saying that it was aimed more towards Drake, but I think that statement was more towards like the higher ups. You get what I'm saying? Towards like the white America, where they're like, yo, like you're not gonna do that shit here. And he was like, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want type.
Mhm.
So that's how I'm kind of looking at it. But overall, I think homie could have like actually played some of his old hits like that were bangers.
I hear a lot of people saying that, but at the end of the day, bro, it's like this past year, everything that Kendrick has put out has just skyrocketed. I don't know. For me, it only makes sense for him to just play everything that's been blowing up this
Let me
past
just say, because I know you're gonna go on till the end of the podcast with this shit,
Yeah.
bro. And you know it too. You're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad at all. I do not think it was bad. It was interesting. All that little mini hidden stuff was interesting to see, like the little Easter eggs and whatnot. Do I think people are going too crazy with it, trying to just like uplift it? Like, bro, it's just a preference thing. If someone doesn't like it, it's cool. Let them like it. You don't have to label it racism, which I've seen people doing. Some people don't like that, but they still think Prince's was the best of all time, or they think MJ's was the best, and those are two black artists, or even the Snoop Dogg one. But I feel I'm seeing a lot of people kind of like bring it to, they don't like it because it's racism. So maybe some are, and I'm not saying it. Maybe let them be, but I don't feel like that's the case for all people. Like, you like it, you don't like it. People are getting way too deep on it. They're making it into something that's like, which comes to show like the power of the Kendrick fans too. They're down for Kendrick. But I just feel like at the end of the day, you shouldn't get that deep, bro, where people are bringing in race and culture and stuff. Like, yeah, it was cool he did that, but maybe someone just doesn't rock with that type of music.
Well,
That's all I have to say.
What about your boy Kanye?
What about him? Sick
No,
ass.
come on now.
No, hold on. Kanye today said, he's like, after long reflection, I am not a Nazi anymore.
So all of a sudden,
we're chilling, dog.
After all the shirts come out and everything,
Flashing.
I seen a video of a Jewish guy. He was like, I seen it. He was like, it's like, no, I know it's not true. He's like, I went there and it was true. He's like, then I saw how much it cost. He was like, that's a good deal.
Shit, that's fun.
No, but so in every culture, there are like I don't feel any obligation to learn Hispanic culture. I don't feel any obligation to learn Armenian culture, Turkish culture, Japanese, nothing. But because I'm Black, I feel obligated that outside of my normal path in life, I need to go pick up a book. I need to read something, and I need to learn about African history. I need to learn about African American history in general. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that same sentiment is with everybody. Like, you probably don't feel any need to know anything about Japan, anybody else, but you probably have had your moments where you're like, outside of my everyday life, I need to learn some more about my own culture, right? And when you do it, that can actually change your identity. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing because you're only coming from your own ancestors, right? I would love if I could take some type of microscope, telescope, whatever you want to call it, and look into the future, and I see that my descendants are still carrying a piece of me, my traditions, the things that I like, the way that I am, right? And so in America in general, it's been this whitewashing where they want to put everything into this washing machine, clean it off, and then just like, here's how it's supposed to be. And that goes for Armenians, Blacks, Mexicans, everybody, even whites, bro. They don't want whites acting like, they don't want Irish people acting like Irish people. They want to whitewash everything and they want it to be a specific type of way here.
Colonized.
Americanized, yeah.
And so there's no respect. Like, this country is BS, bro. Like, in the sense of like what it claims it stands for. It doesn't function like that for real. And so for me, what I'm getting at is that there's things that people could say to me as a Black person that they feel like I didn't say anything offensive. And I'm just looking at them like, bro, that was mad offensive, what you just told me right now, you know? Because I know my history, and forget my history, I know my own personal experiences. With just because I could walk in, I could shake somebody's hand and smile, doesn't mean that I haven't been through some jacked up stuff growing up. Doesn't mean that I haven't been a harmless little kid being called a nigger by 30-year-old men, and I can fight these dudes, and I'm by myself. Like, what do I do? Doesn't mean I don't have experiences like this. Doesn't mean that my great-grandmother didn't pull us into the street when we were walking down the street because she's traumatized, because when she was growing up, if a white person's coming down the street, you got to get off the sidewalk and go to the other side. Doesn't mean I didn't see all these things. Doesn't mean that that's not passed down. So these things are impactful, bro. Like, and okay, I'm gonna just say one thing, and then like I'll make it more of a conversation more than a lecture. When you talked about like some people were like, I don't like this halftime, but I like Michael Jackson's or I like Prince's. There's always something that the outside is comfortable with. They want you to be a certain type of Black, just like they want you to be a certain type of Mexican, and they want you to be a certain type of Armenian. But if you saw something that made all of Armenia proud, it may get these white Americans to be like, nah, that's too much. But we do like the other Armenian. This is something Black people have been hearing our whole existence, bro. It's like I'm not racist. I got a Black friend. I'm not racist. Like, the guy who does this for me is Black. Or, you know, I like Michael Jackson, so I'm not racist.
NBA team.
Yeah.
I'm not racist. No,
Don't forget about my neighbor.
Max's Black neighbor.
So I'm just saying, like, we got to be careful when we look at those people online who are making these compliments. They're backhanded compliments. Oh, I don't like this. It's too ghetto and everything. Now, Prince, that was music. Why do you think that was music? Because Prince was walking around looking feminine? That's how you want to see Black men? It's all these thoughts that cross in my mind. What was it about Prince that made you feel comfortable and safe, but this guy didn't?
It's the music. It comes down to the music, bro. Because some people aren't getting that deep on the cultural issues. You need to remember that this life of this time frame that we're here, people are dumbed down. Well, it should be. Not everyone's like us, bro.
Yeah.
I agree with him. It also comes down to the message that you are portraying. Because like at the end of the day, I mean, I don't like really talking about him too much, but like Ross has this one song, Idols Became Rivals, right? And on that song, he kind of talks about how when he made it to the top, he realized how everything is fucking fake at the end of the day, right? And I kind of had my own glimpse of that, where, like, I'm peeping in the game, bro. You got rappers over here borrowing chains from other rappers. Like, everybody's broke as shit. Like, nobody's really on par like that. And then I turn around and see that, like, it's because, like, they still got a foot on their neck. It's because, like, the industry's actually still controlled.
Yep.
You feel me? It's still manipulated. Because I've been on so many back end deals with, like, I don't really want to say names, but just crazy ass artists where I'm like, bro, like, you've never touched this type of money on a deal. You're turning it down for what? You get what I'm saying? And then you come to find out that, oh, like, they weren't allowed to take it because of some shit that just right now, like, they're not allowed to be performing. Like, right now, they just want to, like, ice the fans out. And it's like, yo, you're manipulating and you're controlling the game to a point where you killed it. You washed a little too much off of it. You get what I'm saying? So now, like, again, we were going back to what we were saying, like, lyricism. Like, the songs these days don't really have a message behind them too much. And I feel like Kendrick's music always had it always has a message in it. You get what I'm saying? Like, Kendrick has always been a lyricist. That's what he's known for. But, like, the songs that he did play, bro, like, some of them had, for sure, like, symbolic meanings in them and shit that should have been said. But, like, he had music that he could have played that would have been a better message. Portraying
to fit
overall.
that overall message that was, I guess, being pushed.
Well, no.
You get what I mean?
No, I get what he's saying, and I just, so the whole GNX album in general is a shift from what we're normally used to hearing from Kendrick.
Right.
But because we're on the West Coast, we know what it is. The rest of the world didn't know what it is. They're like, oh, what's going on? Like where's this or whatever, or where's that? But these are the real roots, you know. I was explaining code switching to you, and I feel like it's a thing where, like, you do what you got to do to get to a certain point. And this is what you're touching on what we talked about earlier. I feel like these artists get to that point and then they're still like, no, I'm gonna stay with the code. Instead of like, no, it's time to open up now, be you. Because nobody can hold you down now.
Right.
Now you've made it. And I feel like that's all I've seen from Kendrick. Does that mean I think that we're just about to get a bunch of GNXs moving forward? Not at all. I'm confident he's still gonna put out more albums that are similar to what we've been used to hearing. But it was needed. It was needed for sure. I even look at it as like a blueprint, right? A blueprint in the sense of, do you feel like that was like dumbed down, or do you feel like there was a lot of artistic value in that GNX album? Personally, however you feel. I'm just curious.
I would say it was definitely a lot more artistic. I don't think it was dumbed down per se, because how do I say this? Like, I feel like it's a little bit harder to even read between the lines on the GNX album than any other albums.
Exactly.
You feel me? Like, for a person to actually understand the game and understand lyricism, you had, like, his older shit, he was serving it to you.
Right.
He was putting it in your face. GNX is hidden.
Yes.
Like, it's really hidden. Like, you actually have to understand, like, the double entendres behind what the fuck he's saying.
You'd have to understand
the hidden
slang,
messages. Everything, bro. Everything from, like, even just to, like, just having, like, the cultural, like, bro, like, the boom bop bam. Like, that freestyle shit, just having that small little cultural understanding. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But, like, not a lot of people, and a lot of people are hating on that album because they don't know music anymore. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they can't read between the lines anymore because music these days there ain't no lines. It's just a beat. Really. I
guess just to, because I know you guys want to talk about it forever. My personal thoughts on the Super Bowl, I loved what he did, how he did it. Being somebody who's performed in front of a large audience, I understand the difference from, I could rap to you guys right now, but if I just stand in the middle of a stadium and start trying to rap, you're going to lose your breath fast. It's just the environment.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different, right? I've performed at the LA Sports Arena, and that's when I realized, and I've also performed, it's not that massive, but I performed at Belasco right there. And I was running things that I could normally just get out, you running out quicker. So knowing everything that he was up against, knowing the fact that they mute the audio of the crowd, knowing that these are not all Kendrick fans in these stands, these are just the Super Bowl and everything like that, knowing all those things he was up against, I got to tip my hat off to him. Especially, you know, I went back and I watched it again. And when you watch it a second time, what you realize is, damn, like, the camera angles, you appreciate, right? These camera angles were on point. Like, when it switches to this one, it's like a scene.
Clean. It was very clean.
No, yeah, for sure.
So all of that being put together, because as we all, well, as I know, I don't know if you guys are familiar, if you've ever watched a Kendrick performance or if you've ever been at one, it's insane all the time. It's nothing like what we saw at the Super Bowl, and it wasn't because his energy was down. Again, this is not his crowd. They don't know him. But after the Super Bowl was done, and then we get to social media and we see the reactions across, then I'm like, okay, that now you see rooms packed full of people and everybody's like jumping, like hype over the Super Bowl because those were his people and everything like that. And it would be the same thing for me, bro. Like if it was a certain country artist that they had perform at the Super Bowl, I'm gonna be in there like, man, turn this off. Like, like, all right, let's go outside and smoke real quick. Like, and come back. So I'm not mad at people for that, but it's just like, I guess, I don't know, I'm a little bit more sensitive about it because I'm black, and that was a super black message, and I'm proud of him for what he did, you know?
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Feel it.
I think that, you know, we talked about, we had the boss talk like we normally do. We also talked about this halftime show. We talked a little bit about, like, what do we say? Like some things in the industry and whatnot. This episode is going to be a bit shorter. Sorry, folks, because we do have responsibilities and other things that we got to maintain to make sure that this production stays afloat. So just tap back in with us. We're going to have you back again, bro, because we want to hear way more from you, bro.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Thank you for coming.
Hey, it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate
for real. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you want to tell them one more time, like, about where they can find you or whatever? Like,
Instagram, the Arman Ghazaryan, ArmanGhazaryan. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
And that's Boss Talk, ladies and gentlemen.
Boss Talk.
All right.